Hello everyone. I find myself needing some perspective, perhaps some clarity, because my head is spinning, and my heart feels caught somewhere between genuine affection and growing unease. I have been in a relationship with my boyfriend for nearly a year now. 12 months. It feels both like a lifetime and like no time at all. When I look back, especially at the beginning, so many things felt, and often still feel, truly wonderful between us. There is a connection, a way we laugh together, moments where I feel completely seen and supported. However, woven into this fabric are threads of behavior, certain demands, and opinions he holds, that deeply bother me. These incidents, these rules, have been accumulating, and lately, they have started to feel less like quirks and more like serious red flags, waving frantically in my peripheral vision. I am standing at a crossroads, profoundly unsure if the path forward involves accepting these conditions he has been enforcing, conditions that feel increasingly restrictive, or if I am capable of tolerating what I perceive as his frankly strange and sometimes hurtful perspectives on the world, and specifically, on me. One of the earliest and most significant points of contention revolves around my friendships, specifically my relationship with my male best friend. We have known each other for over 4 years, long before my current boyfriend entered the picture. This friend has been a constant presence, a source of platonic support, shared history, and countless inside jokes. He is like family. The issue ignited when my boyfriend, browsing through my phone, which is another point I will get to, discovered a dedicated photo album. It was not hidden, just an organized space where I had saved a multitude of photographs, videos, and screenshots of messages exchanged between my best friend and me over the years. There was absolutely nothing inappropriate in there, no romantic declarations, no flirtatious exchanges, just memories. Hundreds of them. Silly selfies, snapshots from group hangouts, funny videos we had sent each other, memorable text conversations about everything from school stress to family drama. It was, essentially, a digital scrapbook of our friendship. My boyfriend, however, did not see it that way. The sheer volume of it seemed to trigger something in him. He perceived it not as a testament to a long-standing platonic bond, but as evidence of something more. He became visibly uncomfortable, maybe insecure, though he framed it as feeling disrespected. He interpreted the depth of the friendship documented in that album as a threat to our relationship. The conversation that followed was tense. I tried to explain, to reassure him that this friendship was purely platonic, that the history was important to me but posed no danger to what he and I had. He seemed unable or unwilling to accept this. His conclusion was stark: he felt deeply uncomfortable, and the only way for him to feel secure again was if I ceased contact with my best friend. Not just limit contact, but cut him off entirely. At the very least, he insisted, I had to stop talking to him regularly. The implication was clear: my friendship was incompatible with our romantic relationship in his eyes. Making that choice, sacrificing a 4-year friendship that meant the world to me, felt like tearing out a piece of my own history. It was the first major rule, the first time I felt a boundary being imposed that significantly altered my personal life for his comfort. The loss of that daily connection, the shared laughter and easy companionship, still aches. Following closely on the heels of the friendship issue is the matter of my clothing choices. This has become a surprisingly frequent source of friction and distress. Specifically, he has decreed that I am no longer permitted to wear short skirts. It does not matter if I am wearing safety shorts underneath, which I always did anyway for my own comfort and peace of mind. His reasoning, stated quite bluntly, is that he doesn't want me to look like that kind of girl. The implication, the judgment laced in those words, stings every time. He equates shorter hemlines with promiscuity or a lack of self-respect, and by extension, implies that my wearing them reflects poorly on him or invites unwanted attention in a way he deems unacceptable. This control extended dramatically into planning for the summer. We were discussing potential beach trips or days by the pool, and the topic of swimwear came up. I quickly learned that bikinis were completely out of the question in his view. But his objections did not stop there. Even some one-piece swimsuits or swim dresses were vetoed if they showed any amount of cleavage or were, in his estimation, too short. His rationale centers around the idea of male attention. According to him, it is simply not safe for me to attract too much notice from other men, particularly if I happen to be out somewhere without him, even at a public beach or pool surrounded by people. He paints scenarios of unwanted advances or dangerous situations, framing his control as concern for my well-being. What makes this particularly confusing and frustrating is that this is a relatively recent development. For the first 9 months or so of our relationship, I wore skirts. I wore tank tops. I wore outfits that I felt confident and comfortable in, and it was never an issue. He might have made occasional comments, but there were no outright prohibitions. His explanation for this shift? He claims it is because I broke his trust on multiple occasions. He vaguely refers to past incidents, times perhaps I was late meeting him, or maybe forgot to text back immediately, or situations he misinterpreted, and uses these as justification for retracting his previous allowance regarding my wardrobe. He essentially argues that if I had been perfectly trustworthy, by his definition, he would not need to implement such strict rules about my appearance. This framing places the blame squarely on me, suggesting that his controlling behavior is a direct and necessary consequence of my supposed failings, rather than an issue originating from his own insecurity or desire for control. It feels manipulative, like my past minor mistakes are being weaponized to justify current restrictions. Then there is the curfew. He demands that I am home before 8:30 in the evening. Every single night. This might sound reasonable on the surface, but the context is important. I live in a fairly large city, and my primary mode of transportation is public transit, buses and trains. Depending on where I am coming from, particularly if I am spending a day with friends across town or attending an event, the journey home can easily take an hour, sometimes longer with delays. Most of the time, I naturally wrap things up and head home earlier than his deadline anyway, simply because that is how my day unfolds. However, on the occasions when I might be cutting it close, or even slightly late due to transit issues or simply losing track of time while enjoying myself, it becomes a major point of contention. He tells me he feels disrespected when I am not home by 8:30 sharp, framing it as me deliberately making the same mistake over and over. His other justification, similar to the clothing argument, is safety. He insists it is far too risky for me to be traveling alone on public transportation late at night. To be fair, we have both unfortunately had unpleasant encounters with strange or aggressive individuals in the city, day and night. Public transport, especially later in the evening, can sometimes feel unsafe, and I understand that concern on a rational level. However, his rigid 8:30 p.m. deadline often feels less like genuine concern and more like another layer of control. It limits my ability to have spontaneous evening plans, attend later classes or study groups, or simply enjoy a full day out without constantly watching the clock with mounting anxiety. It makes me feel less like an adult capable of managing my own safety and more like a child with a strict bedtime. The feeling of being monitored, even from afar, is palpable. His monitoring is not just temporal, it extends into the digital realm as well. He checks my phone sometimes. It is not a constant demand, not usually a deep dive into every message, but it happens often enough to keep me on edge. He will ask to see it, perhaps scrolling through my main feed or checking my recent calls or applications. He claims he does not read my private conversations, but the act itself feels invasive. One specific incident stands out vividly. I had sent him a TikTok video I found amusing. It was one of those popular memes featuring a confident gymgoer gently humbling someone with perhaps an overinflated ego. It was meant to be funny, harmless. Later, he asked me to show him the TikToks that my female friend had been sending me around that same time. His reasoning? Because my friend had also sent me a video featuring a different, shirtless, man, maybe another fitness influencer or something similar. Even though the video I sent him was completely different, the fact that my friend had sent me any video containing a shirtless man made him uncomfortable. He expressed concern that perhaps she frequently sent me content like that, implying it was inappropriate or disrespectful to our relationship for me to even receive such videos from a friend. I was stunned. It felt like an innocent meme shared between friends was being twisted into something suspicious. The need to scrutinize the content my friends send me felt like a massive overreach, fueled by an insecurity that seemed to find potential threats everywhere. This suspicion towards other men manifests in broader rules as well. He has explicitly told me that I cannot be part of any group of friends if other males are involved. Mixed-gender gatherings are essentially forbidden unless he is present. Furthermore, he has stated that I should not cultivate any close, one-on-one friendly communication with guys at all. This goes beyond just cutting off my long-term best friend, it aims to prevent any future platonic friendships with men from forming. It creates a sense of isolation, limiting my social interactions to exclusively female circles or situations where he is acting as a chaperone. It feels like he views every man as a potential rival and every interaction as potentially fraught with romantic or sexual undertones, regardless of the reality. Compounding all of this controlling behavior is a pattern of thought and online activity that I find deeply unsettling: his misogyny. He frequently makes derogatory comments about women online, particularly targeting those who post pictures or videos of themselves at the gym or in workout attire. He uses degrading language, calling them names, and sometimes even leaves hostile or objectifying comments directly on their posts. He seems to hold a set of genuinely misogynistic beliefs about women's roles, their bodies, and their behavior. When confronted, or when these topics come up, he is always ready with a barrage of arguments and justifications to support his views, often citing controversial online figures or pseudoscientific reasoning. While he presents his arguments as logical or based on principle, the underlying disrespect and hostility towards women, other than, ostensibly, me, are undeniable and make my stomach churn. Being with someone who harbors such negativity towards my own gender feels fundamentally wrong, even if he tries to shield me from it directly. It creates a dissonance. How can he claim to love and respect me while simultaneously denigrating other women so casually and cruelly? Now, having laid out all these significant problems, I feel it is crucial, for fairness and for explaining my own confusion, to mention the other side of the coin. Because if it were all bad, the decision would be simple. He has painted a picture of our future together, one where, once we move in together, he envisions himself taking care of everything. He talks about covering all the expenses, supporting me financially through the remainder of my schooling, helping me with practical matters, and generally ensuring that I have everything I need to feel secure and provided for. He speaks of wanting to build a life where I am protected and cherished. And even in the present, amidst the rules and the discomfort, he is genuinely supportive in many other aspects of my life. When I am stressed about exams, he helps me study or just listens patiently. When I have a problem unrelated to his areas of control, he offers thoughtful advice. Our day-to-day communication, when we are not navigating one of his restrictions, is often really good. We can talk for hours about shared interests, movies, future dreams, the ones that fit his framework, at least. There are moments of tenderness, affection, and genuine fun that remind me of why I fell for him in the first place. I do, often, enjoy being with him. He can be charming, attentive, and make me feel loved in ways that momentarily eclipse the controlling behaviors. But that is the crux of my dilemma. These intense moments of connection and his promises for a secure future are increasingly overshadowed by the growing list of rules, the monitoring, the jealousy, the misogynistic undertones, and the general feeling of being controlled. The restrictions on my friendships, my clothing, my time, and even the content I consume feel suffocating. This is not the equal partnership I had envisioned for myself. While the prospect of future financial security and support is appealing, especially as a student, the price seems to be my autonomy, my friendships, and my ability to simply be myself without constant scrutiny or judgment. I am 18 years old, turning 19 soon. He is 21. We are both young, but this feels like a pivotal moment. Can I truly accept this kind of relationship dynamic for the long term? For the rest of my life? The idea feels daunting, almost impossible. The controlling behavior seems to be escalating, not decreasing. The justification that I broke his trust feels like a convenient excuse to tighten his grip. The misogyny suggests a deeper issue that is unlikely to change easily. Yet, the thought of breaking up, of losing the good parts, the companionship, the support he does offer, and the future he promises, is also painful. There is love there, or at least strong affection and attachment, which makes walking away incredibly difficult. Am I overreacting? Are these just boundary issues that can be worked through with better communication, or are they fundamental incompatibilities and warning signs of an unhealthy, potentially abusive dynamic? My mind goes back and forth constantly. One moment I feel resolute, knowing this is not right, and the next I am filled with doubt, remembering his good qualities and questioning if I am throwing away something potentially valuable. So, I am turning to you, strangers on the internet, for objective insights. Based on everything I have described, the good, the bad, the deeply confusing, what do you see? Should I break up with him? Is this level of control normal or acceptable in any healthy relationship? Can someone be genuinely loving and supportive while also being this controlling and misogynistic? I feel lost and desperately need some clarity. Too long, didn't read. My boyfriend of almost a year has implemented increasingly strict rules that make me deeply uncomfortable. He forced me to cut off my male best friend of 4 years after finding an innocent photo album of memories. He dictates what I can wear, banning short skirts, even with safety shorts, and most swimwear that is not extremely modest, citing concerns about male attention and claiming I broke his trust as justification for these recent changes. He enforces a strict 8:30 p.m. curfew, despite my hour-long public transport commute, framing lateness as disrespect and citing safety concerns. He occasionally checks my phone and became suspicious over harmless TikToks my friends sent me. He forbids me from having male friends or participating in mixed-gender social groups. On top of this controlling behavior, he frequently expresses deeply misogynistic views online, uses derogatory terms for women, and justifies his stance with arguments. Despite all this, he promises a future where he will financially support me completely once we live together, and he is supportive and communicative in many other ways currently, which makes me confused. The controlling aspects are escalating and suffocating me, making me question if I can accept this long term, even with the good parts and future promises. I am torn and unsure whether I should end the relationship or try to endure/change things.